3 years ago, in March of 2011, floodwaters swept through the Warman Aboriginal community, dumping 130 millimetres of rain in just 24 hours. Now, it was the first time in history the banks of Turkey Creek here had risen quite so high, and it destroyed most of the houses and it flooded the Warman Art Centre here behind me. Now, 90% of the artwork inside was lost. Now that I'm back, what I'd like to know is how have they recovered? After such heartache, have these artists and has the gallery returned to its former health? Well, I have to say, on first impressions, my answer is certainly yes. I mean, to think that during the flood, the water levels were halfway up the wall here. I mean, this incredible collection of work displayed in such a contemporary centre seems in such a contrast to the, I guess, the very conventional way that each piece is actually made. Which begins with the earth. The people of this area are known as Gidja. Their culture celebrates their country, drawing on traditional dreaming stories and present-day life. When I was here last time, I spoke to one artist who described how it would often take several months of painting day in, day out before one of his pieces was finally complete. Every dot that he painted on this massive canvas was a footstep of one of his ancestors as they walked towards the hills way off behind the community. Just a few years later, I've been lucky enough to bump into him again. Gabriel, how are you, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. Good to see you again.
Good, mate. This is one of your newer paintings, isn't it?
Yeah, one of my new paintings, yes. That's right.
How long did this one take?
This one took about over 3 months.
3 months.
3 months, yeah. And this story is about Emu poking his head down on the ground, and he calls out. And the other emu does the same on the other end, and he calls back. And where the echo meet, causes a big bang. And all this here, breaking up is like an earthquake.
As he painted, he channeled their spirit. It was an intimate and incredibly personal expression he made with every image. Easy to see why his work has an international reputation and a waiting list to match. But part of what puts these artists at the forefront of contemporary art in Australia is what they use for paint. These incredible colours come from natural ochre and pigments prepared by the artists in the community. Each tone matches the hues of the land because, quite simply, well, that's exactly where they've come from. There's some very big names here, like Gidja artist Lena Yabbi, who last year was commissioned to design a work for a rooftop terrace of a museum in Paris. And it was called Barramundi Scales, and it's now seen by every visitor who climbs the Eiffel Tower. The Warman Art Centre is in the heart of the Warman community, halfway between Halls Creek and Kununurra, just off the Great Northern Highway. I must say that I do feel very privileged to be here at the home of some of this country's finest Indigenous artists. And it's so good to see that after such devastation, what they've created here, I think, is not only as good, it's actually better than what they had before.